A2theK.
So, what do you want to talk about?
Shitty catchphrases.
Indeed. But we are going to talk about
top
Cody
10
Rhodes.
shitty catchphrases. Yes, we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes and what's next for Cody Rhodes. Now, we actually planned the segment before we saw Raw.
Yes. Well, before we saw WrestleMania.
Before we saw
Before the
Mania.
certainty of Cody Rhodes winning the championship.
So this has become a much more interesting topic for us because we were kind of sure he'd have a belt by now.
Yeah.
And spoilers, he doesn't.
Unless he took the one that Rey Mysterio beat his kid with, he does not.
He took his weight belt back. I'm going to need this. So we know that he has not won those belts.
Uh-huh.
And we know that the whole idea was finishing the story. So the question that is in our minds is, what next? So originally we were going to talk about, once you finish the story, what's next? But I don't feel like the story's done. So I think we should maybe start there and talk about like how we get him back to the title scene.
Yeah.
Like, he was quite clearly screwed over. So there's a legitimate thing of going, no, you need a fair match where, you know, that thumb isn't in the fucking way, right? So my natural instinct would be, well, he needs to settle the score with Solo. I mentioned that in the last segment. He needs to settle the score with Solo. He needs to go solo, right? But now we've had this, what do you call it? Diversion into like, well, Brock's attacked him for some reason. Are we going to set up a feud with Brock?
Isn't that what Cody called his what did he call his move to AEW? He didn't call it like a diversion, but he called it something to that effect.
Some sort of, yeah. He did have a name for it. I can't remember what it was now.
Anyway.
But so, well, let's start there. I mean, do you think we're going into a feud with Brock, or do you think this was just him getting screwed over? There was a particular theory, and I will let you speak at one point, sorry. And I'd love to credit the person, and I probably can actually, if you don't mind checking on your phone, because it was somebody who, in our comments on one of your posts, was saying about the potential that try the Triple H one. Is anyone saying about Cody in that one?
He used the pedigree?
Yes, so this here I think is actually a really nice theory, whereby there's like a subtlety that Triple H has orchestrated this screwing over of Cody. Now, that particular comment made a nod to the Throne Breaker thing. I don't think they'll reference AEW specifically, but that they're going to have like the power dynamic of like Triple H will be the authority figure. And I don't know how you feel about that, because I know we were kind of done with authority figures, but Triple H will be the power who like had that deal going, and he's the one who sent Brock out there to screw Cody and so on. I mean, what do you make of that potential that it's actually going to be like as a level of like puppet master, that Triple H was sort of like glad of what happened with the whole Roman and Solo situation? That's why he shook their hands, and consequently why Brock turned on him was that Brock is in very much, he's a company guy, and Triple H asked him to do so. Do you think that was an idea?
It's an interesting one, because Triple H, who typically everyone knows he is the one pulling the strings prior to Vince, if you believe the dirt sheet. But now he's starting to come out and do these announcements. He did the announcement on Raw, which was, we're not going anywhere. He's got another one planned for tonight. So maybe by the time you've listened to this or watched this, this is irrelevant. But maybe he comes out tonight and starts to plant that seed.
I thought it was Friday.
Oh yeah, it's Thursday today. I don't know what they were in. It feels like it's the weekend because it's bank holiday tomorrow. But yeah, so maybe you've caught this in time. But maybe he comes out and he does his, address, if you will, and the seeds start to be planted for something there with Cody. So that is possible. It's a good theory.
I would kind of like that more than I would be a straight up Brock doesn't like you, and therefore they have a feud.
Well, I mean, let's dive into the thing with Brock, because that was a swerve that, I mean, people said this Raw was the worst Raw ever, which I think is a hot take, right? It was fine. The opening was fine. Cody coming out asking for a rematch and all that good stuff all made sense. And then Brock basically has turned on Cody. It's made Cody look a little bit silly.
Yeah.
Because not only did he get screwed over by Solo, who was the guy he said that wasn't ready, he's ended up being the guy that cost him. But then he's then decided to team up with Brock. And you should never team up with Brock because he doesn't play well with others.
He doesn't. He does not.
So Cody's not ended up looking great as a result of this, but you've got to imagine there's going to be something now. For me, I look at this as kind of like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, right? You've got that little tower, the pyramid. You've got to get to the top before you face Shao Kahn, right? Cody...
Nick Khan?
Well, one of the Khans, right? But Cody, you know, he faced everyone. He faced Kano. He faced all these guys, right? But then he skipped Goro, didn't he? Didn't fight Goro. He went straight to Shao Kahn, right? And Brock is Goro. So you don't do that. But my point is, a roundabout way of saying it is, do you have to beat the likes of a Brock Lesnar before you earn the right to go to Roman Reigns? We've spoken. Cody, it was too easy for Cody. Cody came back, ripped his fucking peck apart, still beat Seth Rollins, went away, came back, won the Rumble straight away into WrestleMania. He faced no adversity whatsoever.
I suppose for me, and we can't rewrite history, I would have preferred a journey to the title, not go to the title, fall, and then climb back up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have preferred the journey being longer in the first place, because I feel like we missed out on a really good moment there.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen. We both said in a previous segment, the moments have just got better. So we let it play out. But for me right now, you go, well, I worry about... I feel the moment has to be a Mania moment when he does win the belt, because I feel like this is where we're headed. He is gonna get back to the title scene, right? And I understand that there's stories to tell there for Roman, where you go, right, well, Roman's gonna be on his own for this one, right? So I get that.
I think it'll take a full year to get there, though.
But this is the thing; it's not a year's worth of story, as far as I'm concerned. And are we just gonna have unnecessary diversions? I feel like people they aren't gonna just be able to sit and enjoy Brock versus Cody as a feud, because they're all just quietly waiting for the story to continue. Yeah. And it's just an unnecessary detour.
It's fair. I mean, I agree with you. I don't know whether they can keep this going until the following WrestleMania. So you've got to start thinking, well, when else could he do it? Could he make it? Could it be SummerSlam?
I mean, could be one of the big four. So you could say SummerSlam. It's no one's going to count Survivor Series.
Some people think, Anthony, which I don't agree with, but I'm keen to get your thoughts, that the Saudi show, so it's a crown jewel. I don't know what it'll be, but Roman will have passed 1,000 days on the day of crown jewel.
I don't know. I mean, crown jewel's always been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it? Because I mean, some people hate it because of the whole Saudi issue and the women issue there, and some people love it for the payday. But Saudi as a show, from a fan point of view, has always been rather up and down, isn't it? It's pissed me off massively at times. Yeah. But then I think it was last year's where it was probably one of the better pay-per-views that year. Yeah. So I really don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah. I don't want to see that, by the way. No. But I think, could you drag it out? Could you make Cody the Money in the Bank? Money in the Bank's happening in, you know,
I mean, it adds some relevancy to Money in the Bank. Would you want it to be like a cash-in moment?
I wouldn't personally. It's that's what's so difficult, because
let's look at it from a business point of view. If they can have a Money in the Bank briefcase that has an American Nightmare Skull on it, they fucking will.
They'll sell that. But the thing is, the stars aligned, didn't it, for Cody to win this title at Mania, and he didn't. So it's very much, where do you go from here? Now, obviously, as we said when we came up with this segment, it was a dead cert in our mind that Cody was winning this. And what we've always feared for Cody, which we'll probably come on to in a little bit, is once he finishes the story, where does he go from there? What's next? But the point is, now he's not even finished the story, and we're asking what's next. So it's a massive flip, isn't it? Almost we didn't expect this fork in the road, if you will. So,
and that's an area I want to move on to, really, because I do have genuine concerns that, like, from a fan point of view, what Cody's going to do to sort of keep people invested in the story, because that's a long story to tell now. Yeah. Because I do feel like it has to go to Mania. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah. And to me, Brock's a nice place to start, but where do you go from there? Yeah. Like, what feuds have we got on the road?
On the roads to WrestleMania.
I feel like there's straight away we're gonna have to deal with the Brock thing. That's been set up. Yeah. I feel like he needs to settle beef with Solo. Solo cost him that match, and it'd be a great way to elevate Solo as well. Let's be honest. So that could be a feud in and of itself. Roman's not going to bother with you. He doesn't have to bother with you. But Solo's the enforcer, isn't he? So that would make a bit of sense.
You've got Seth Rollins again.
Seth has got some beef.
He's got very personal beef, and he also believes he should be the one in line, not Cody.
And so that story tells itself in a way.
Although both baby faces at the minute, so you'd probably require a Seth heel turn.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not going to turn Cody heel.
No.
Not anytime soon. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, it could be a great way of showcasing Cody as a wrestler for a while because he's fought Seth so far and Roman.
Yeah.
So we need some more content, really, in that sense.
Yeah. I feel like he's got to go on that redemption path now, hasn't he? Of like
the 2012 John Cena redemption path.
Basically, yeah. But, you know, as you've said, he's got to beat Brock because of what Brock did to him. So that's a detour from a way that he doesn't want to take, but he's going to have to because he's got to, you know, avenge that disrespect from Brock. Yeah. So he'll do that, but then before he gets back to Roman, well, as you said, Solo was the guy who cost him. Yeah. Meanwhile, what's going to happen with the bloodline and with, you know, Jay and Jimmy?
Exactly.
So is that going to keep Roman busy? Has he got to keep them in check? Is he going to, you know, is that going to go off that way?
Well, that's the thing, because they're clearly setting up something there where the Usos are out of favour and may not be in the bloodline much longer. So we'll see what happens there, what pans out there. Yeah,
maybe you will get Seth going after Roman in the meantime, and so Cody can't be in that scene because it's already taken up, and so he's got to do this. But to your point, how do you keep him fresh, relevant, and because right now he's the guy people want to see, right?
Yeah,
take the belt, and we spoke about this in one of the other segments of it should have been Drew in Wales, it should have been Sammy in Montreal, it should have been Cody at Hollywood. Is it still Cody? Is someone else going to come up that we're not expecting?
I mean, that's the thing. It's so wildly unpredictable. Mm-hmm. I feel like people will get genuinely upset if Cody doesn't get to tell his story.
Yeah.
And his story being winning that belt that his dad never won.
I suppose, though, to a degree, it's almost like he's had to experience what his dad experienced because his dad got so close. He won the belt, but he didn't win it because of a technicality.
In a way.
And then to a degree, like, Cody had that thing won.
Yeah. In a way, it's kind of poetry, that, really.
So it's like he's lived that experience now. It's not just avenging his dad.
The thing is, the reality is, Cody's after one title.
Mm.
So for all we know, they could, like, he may not end up fighting Roman, and it may not be for both. We just really don't know what's going to happen in this next year.
That's true. I mean, there's rumours there's going to be a draft coming up, so maybe they will do the belt split. Maybe. How would you feel about this? I don't know how I'd feel about it. Maybe Cody does win the belt and he doesn't defeat Roman for the belt. Maybe Cody wins. Maybe they split the belts.
And it's like a tournament bracket or something.
They have a new belt, which Cody wins. Or he wins the WWE title. Roman keeps the Universal. Mm. And then we get similar to Roman versus Brock, where next WrestleMania is billed as champ versus champ.
I wouldn't mind that so much, to be honest, because I feel like it's causing problems for WWE having both belts on Roman.
But then if Cody wins that match, you can merge them again.
Well, so that's the thing. You'd want at some point in facing Roman again and winning, but like you say, you don't really want to merge the belts again.
Yeah,
they don't have to have that stipulation if they face off. But I mean, look at when the Universal title was first debuted. They had that big tournament bracket for it. Finn Balor won it and then lost it quite well. Had to give it up, sadly. But like, that was a boss tournament bracket. That was awesome. So I would have no issue if they did something like that. But it just wouldn't feel right. I don't know how you'd do it from a storyline point of view, that Roman wouldn't be asked about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I know we're meant to be focusing mainly on Cody here, not necessarily Roman as such, but what if you throw Rock? Is Rock going to get thrown into the mix?
I mean, Rock doesn't need to be there for the titles, but he could do.
Yeah, but I can't see Roman losing them belts. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he's going to lose them, he's going to have to lose them to Cody, I guess, before facing The Rock.
Yeah, makes sense.
So there's that aspect. It's clear that they want to get Roman to 1,000 days.
Yeah. So like you say, Saudi, here we come.
Yeah. So I think you're gonna keep the belt for that amount of time. But then, do you think it'll be SummerSlam that Cody gets the win, or do you think they can pad it out till Mania?
I don't think they can pad it out till Mania.
No.
I think we're being logical and we're reading the fans' reaction as well. I think we need to probably pull the trigger at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Or sooner.
So it gives us, where are we in now? April. So it gives us May, June, July, 3 months to sort it, which, based on what we were expecting, if you've got Cody against Brock, Cody against Solo, to earn the right again to get to Roman, that's your 2 months worth of TV, then you build up again, don't you? So it'd be a shame it didn't happen at Mania, but Cody can still say
then
headline
if
Mania.
Cody holds the belt, he's going to be at Mania.
Yeah.
So it just means he'll go into it as the champ.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Which could be perfect to have Roman return around Rumble time, and then here comes The Rock. Then you've got the Bloodline stuff without Cody. You've got Cody as champ.
Yeah.
And taking that forward.
And you could have some sort of decent feud there then.
So if we go with that then, if we go with Cody's now got to have to earn his way back to Roman, but he wins it at SummerSlam, then he has finished the story.
Yeah.
And this is the problem that we always envisaged, is once he's finished that story, where does he go?
I mean, the ideal for me is heel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the crowd will naturally start to get a little bit bored when the story's gone and be a bit like, oh, it's just Cody and this, that, next thing. I feel like Cody's shtick gets all due respect to him because he's an absolute legend. He knows what he's doing, but his babyface stuff stagnates, and especially when there's not a goal in mind. And this was always the problem with his run in AEW and why he needed to be a heel in AEW, and it never really happened. But the problem with his AEW run was he was never able to go for the title. He boxed himself away from that title. And when he went the TNT champion, he was just Cody doing Cody things, and there was no goal. So you just had Cody like booking himself essentially, and then people were like, "Why the fuck did he win against Anthony Ogogo? That didn't help Anthony Ogogo," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get annoyed. So for me, I feel like personally, I would love to see him turn heel in a way on the back of like, he's won it, and either like you read the crowd reaction, if the crowd do react that way, and he just resents the crowd for not loving him for it, or he even just goes as thingy, like just starts being disrespectful to like, it wasn't even difficult. I don't know why my dad couldn't do it, kind of thing. That kind of disrespectful asshole kind of approach as well. There's so many ways he could be heel, and I do think he'd be really good at being heel. So. Yeah,
the way it's played out has thrown a spanner in the works of how I thought it would be, because I thought Cody would capture the belt and he wouldn't be able to hold on to it for very long. And he'd finally realise that dream, but what he didn't realise is the toughest part wasn't getting the belt, it was hanging on to it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be the storyline, but the fact he never got the belt in the first place, it would seem remiss to have him win it and then take it off him very soon. Yeah. Because then fans would go, for fuck's sake, like, really? Yeah.
So you can't really do that.
It's really muddied the waters for me, because I don't know how now you're going to have...
I like your story, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how you're going to keep a babyface Cody after he wins the belt. And it's no disrespect to Cody, but we've said this before, he's naturally a little bit pompous.
Yeah.
Like he is. Like, you've referenced a million times, like when he was meant to be the babyface in AEW and he's there going, do you want my Rolex? Do you want my red bottom shoes? And it's like, you just sound like a dick, mate. Like, to be honest, like...
Hey, we get it. You got money?
Okay, you're just like bragging.
To be honest, the only time, weirdly, the main time that I understood what Cody was doing was when he was speaking to Paul Heyman, and I realised like how he did actually know, because I didn't really know a lot about his childhood, that he knew what being broke was.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think he means to be pompous with it. I think he's genuinely like, that's the stuff he's worked to be able to afford. So that's what, in that promo, that's he was like, what's it going to take, MJF? The stuff I've earned. But it come across like, I've got this and I've got these, and and it's like, yeah. That's...
Well, he kind of alluded to that a little bit on his Raw promo, didn't he? He said, I don't wear these fancy suits because I am somebody. It's because I want to be somebody and all that. Yeah. So, yeah.
But again, you could easily play into that, like, that materialistic element, because that's what he's about. Like you say, like, even that, like, he's already kind of hinted at that feeling of inferiority in a sense. So, like, that naturally builds a heel.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're better than me? It's there straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if he topples Roman then, and he does stay babyface, I mean, he could go heel, don't get me wrong, and that might be the way to go, but knowing Cody, he wants to be a babyface. The fans may turn on him, but if he remains babyface, who do you naturally pair him up with? For me, Walter is a perfect foil.
Walter would be a great one. However, why don't we go back to Walter?
Gunther is a perfect foil.
Do you know what, another one, and I know this would take a bit of work now, but a heel Drew, I think would be a fantastic foil.
He needs freshening up, to be fair. Yeah. I'd quite like to see him and like do that pretty soon.
And again, you could turn Drew heel on the back of Cody winning the belt and the crowd liking him.
Yeah.
because the crowd didn't like Drew as champ.
Well, again,
so
you've got the story there of...
He built himself up and come back to WWE the same way Cody did, and the crowd fucking turned on him.
Yeah.
He could totally resent Cody for that.
He's got that story baked in. He was the pandemic champ. He did all this without fans, and he held it that long. By the time the fans came back, he suddenly turned on him. He never got to perform in front of them fans.
Yeah. For me, the story, there's a parallel between the two, and the story's there for him to turn around and say, why are you getting the credit from the audience and I never did?
Yeah.
It's right there.
That's a fucking great story, to be fair. Yeah. You've also got to add Seth Rollins into the mix again. And I know we've seen it a lot of times.
As long as we get a bit of distance, I'm fine. Like, I feel like we got overexposed because there were like 3 matches. And then, obviously, Cody was injured. So we had Cody coming back, fight Seth, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So it just felt a bit oversaturated. I think probably because of the injury as well. So we just need a bit of time. I'm more than happy for them to have a match again. They work really well together.
You've got that story baked in as well of Seth being unable to defeat Cody. He couldn't even beat him when he had one arm.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how's he going to ever do it now? Do you know what I mean? While he's champ and he's got better and all that. So I think if Cody becomes champ, Seth is a logical person for him to lose it to. Because of that story that's built in.
Okay. Here's a bit of a wild one, though.
Go on.
Logan Paul.
I mean, I think Cody would be up for that, if not more than just to get the eyes.
Purely, though, from a standpoint of who they are, right? I feel like Logan is a legitimate, like, millionaire celebrity, like, more so than Cody. So Cody's doing his reality shows and he's doing his TV shows with the Go Big show and stuff like that. And he's obviously all about the money because he wants to be somebody. So I feel like there's a story there where Logan's like, you want to be somebody, I am somebody kind of thing. I feel like there is a story there. And if they keep Logan and they want to push Logan as a legit wrestler, who definitely could be one, as much as people are like, he's just a YouTube guy. If they wanted to push him as a legit WWE star, that is a feud right there.
I could see that match happening. Similar to what we saw with Logan and Roman. I don't think it's going to be like anything decisive. I don't think he's going to actually stand a real chance. I think see him going.
I think they sell it as him standing a real chance better than they ever did Roman, though.
Yeah, to be fair.
I think you could end up walking into that match going, I don't know, they might, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he ever would, but they could sell it a lot more. And I feel like the story, again, kind of just works for the two of them.
Yeah, it's entirely possible for that to happen. But, okay, so we think Cody's going to have to face some adversity in the short term, go up against Brock, go up against Solo, eventually get back to Roman, maybe at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, I think.
Where he gets the win. And then we think he's going to remain baby. Do you think he's going to remain babyface? Or
I think so. I'd rather he didn't, but I feel like he is going to remain babyface.
Yeah, and you think there'll be some kind of...
my favourite out of what we talked about would be he remains babyface and we get heel Drew. I think that'd be a fucking good one.
Yeah, I could see that, to be fair.
I don't know, I'm like, my favourite's the one I suggested, but like...
I mean, you know, I'm a massive Drew fanboy, so that's definitely high on my list as well, but I think we might get Drew. I don't think he'll win it. We might get Logan Paul. I don't think he'll win it. But then Seth, if that's Seth the end game,
to win it.
Because of the history they've had, then Seth could be the one that wins it. But
I like that. Let's pan it out like that, man. I like that.
But it's interesting because you can shit on the way they've handled it. But to my point of, if he would have won it at Mania, I think it would have been a much faster turn on him because now there's no story left to tell. Whereas now he's had some adversity and he's going to finally get it, and then you've got them other stories to kind of bake in.
I hope that they don't try and string it out to the next Mania because I feel like people are just going to get bored with finish the story arc.
I feel like they can't. Like, if it's not Mania 40, it's never happening. But I'll say it. I've said it for the last 2 Manias. I'll say it for this one. It's got to be Roman versus Rock. If they can't pull it off, and that's not the end to the whole bloodline thing. I mean,
it feels like the end of the bloodline.
It's got to be the whole bloodline story. Who else can you bring in from the bloodline?
Like, because the Usos are getting pushed out now, I feel like we're setting it up. I feel like we're getting to a point that the Usos are going to bring Rock in.
Yeah.
Like
here's the real head of the table.
He's gone power mad. We need to stop him.
Yeah.
Who can we get?
Yeah.
Got to be the Rock.
Well, that's it. You'll have because obviously the whole Jay and Sammy story is not finished. Sammy's going to still be there saying, look, there's a reason why I did what I did, and you can see this, and you know it as well. He's going to create some, dissension in the ranks, and you're going to get Jay versus Roman. You might even get Jay versus Jimmy. Out of SummerSlam or whatever.
Tamatonga for some reason.
Yeah, because you want it to happen so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacob Fatu says he wants to come over to WWE at some point,
Nice.
so you never know. But yeah, it's a shocking series of events that happened at WrestleMania. I think we both agree Cody will continue his march to the title, will get that title, and then from there, it's that becomes the whole new what's next, which I think, you know, we've made some compelling cases.
Let's see how accurate this is.
We need to do that a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
We had some wild predictions, didn't we, early in the year, which I think some of them have come true already, which is good. But as you'll see from our next week's show of WrestleMania 40 predictions, I think I threw Jay White in there. That's not going to happen now.
Yeah, that's happen.
So, you know, shit happens.
Hey, there's still plenty of time between now and 40.
This is true. But yeah, let us know what you think. Do you think Cody will turn heel? Do you think he'll get the belt back at SummerSlam? Do you think it'll be a backlash that soon? Who knows? Will he not get the belt back at all? Like, obviously, that's why we do this. We want to hear your thoughts and let us know your opinion on our thoughts as well.
I agree.
Indeed. Indubitably. So, before we let you go, you may have seen us sampling some Top Rope for the first time this week because we kept forgetting.
Funky.
It's see-through.
The new see-through bottle.
But we've got Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast.
Which is a delicious IPA, which you can get now at topropebrewing.com. Use A2theK 10 for 10% off. And Anthony, tell the people about our merchandise.
Well, we sell some t-shirts, Carl, and we sell them on Pro Wrestling Tees, amongst all the other fantastic wrestling t-shirts you can get. You can get our logo emblazoned on a shirt, should you wish. You can also get some of our more unique designs, such as House of Purple, Predict This. I think Whiskey and Wrestling's still up there.
Yeah,
we've got a few designs, definitely worth checking out. And if you put in A2theK 10 on Pro Wrestling Tees, nothing will happen. You will pay full price. Sorry about that.
And you will like it. But to be fair, we made them as cheap as we possibly could for you.
We have.
So yeah, another fun-filled show. Again, let us know in the comments what you think about Cody Rhodes, what's next for him, and we'll see you on the next one.